Now, if you've ever thought of creating your own charity, there are a few things you should know. We're joined this morning by Jeff Moss from Daughter Man, Mulcahy and Sadler to break down the steps and some of the legalities that go into starting your own charity or foundation. So first of all, can anyone start their own charity?
Good morning, Keenan. Thank you very much for having me on the show. It's an honor and a privilege to talk about other people's charitable contributions and activities. But yes, any person can create their own charity. What they really need is a charitable purpose and a good cause to be interested in.
Okay, so let's say I have a good cause, a charity that something that's sort of a passion project for me. So what are the first steps I need to take in order to set up a charity?
Excellent. So the first steps are a person has to create a corporation in the state of Michigan. It has to be a nonprofit corporation, and the organization has to have a charitable purpose, such as funding medical research to help stop Alzheimer's disease or prevention of childhood obesity, a lot of purposes like that.
And it can be something perhaps, serious, but even something like, pets or shelters are often charities as well. Is that correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. I helped create a shelter at one point in time to house horses after they had retired to prevent cruelty to horses.
Okay, so now we have our purpose, we have set up our corporation, but in order to be a true charity, we have to go beyond Lansing and go to Washington, right, to get special recognition. Is that the case?
Absolutely. A charity, an organization has to file for a tax exemption with the IRS. They have to file an IRS Form 1023, which is the application for tax exemption. It's 26 pages long, it has schedules, it asks all kinds of questions like who's going to be on your board? Are you going to compensate anybody? What's your budget going to be? Is there going to be a conflict of interest policy? All types of things that are also public disclosure because the form does get published.
And okay, what are some of the most common pitfalls? I mean, this sounds like a 26-page form from the IRS. It sounds pretty daunting. What are some of the common pitfalls that people face when trying to set up a charity?
I think the biggest pitfall is sometimes people just don't know what the questions are asking if they were going to be trying to do the form themselves. Other pitfalls might be they're setting up an organization that really looks more like a business than a charity, and that can cause problems. The IRS won't accept a charity that has a purpose that benefits individuals or is a business.
But, and that sounds like a fine point, because a nonprofit, they can pay people who work for them.
Absolutely,
correct?
Absolutely. A nonprofit can pay people reasonable compensation for work performed, and that's employees, that could be board members, that could be people, but it has to be reasonable compensation for services actually done.
All right. So if folks are thinking, hey, something, it's holiday season, I might like to start a charity, is there any way they can get help from perhaps you, or since you're an expert in this, or where should folks go for help?
Folks should go look at the IRS website. irs.gov has a really good discussion about different charities and nonprofits, but they should come see a lawyer to help them create the corporation, help them create bylaws, and help govern their organization, because they have to think about directors, they have to think about disclosures, they have to think about a lot of things.
Jeff Moss from Daughter Man, Mulcahy and Sadler PLC, thank you so much for joining us.